you like the video?
Reminds me, we did a lot of great things these past 3 months to help change the world around us for the better.
We totally did. We made sure to take photos so you can share them with all of you.
With the show of hands, how many people have done something kind in the past 24 hours, such as smile to a stranger, held the door open for the person behind you, or even given a simple compliment? By the way, this really like your shoes. Great. We created kindness stones that were displayed in the main office to remind you all to smile, laugh, be kind, and have hope. They are real river rocks that are painted with inspirational words and designs. We also created paper kindness donuts that will display in the hallways. Make sure to keep an eye out for these.
Another Asian of Change activity we did was create care packages for military overseas. With the show of hands, how many people know someone from the armed forces? Great. On that same note, we found that they needed basic things like ketchup, drink mixes for their water, art supplies, candy, and many other things. Imagine how your life would be without these simple things you take for granted. Because I definitely couldn't go without candy or anything.
Again, with the show of hands, how many people have sent postcards overseas? That was another Asian exchange activity that we did. We created our own postcards to send them so that all those deployed overseas would be able to write them to their loved ones. We included letters to them to let them know how much we appreciate everything they do for our country. With a show of hands, who has thought about gratitude in the last 24 hours? In the spirit of Thanksgiving, we created gratitude posters. Now raise your hands if you know about the app on your iPads called Pick Collage. What we did as a club was we took pictures of gratitude, things we are grateful for, and put them in Pick Collages. We have them hanging in the display case outside of the library for everyone to see. Gratitude is a powerful thing, and you should always spread it, not only around Thanksgiving. To help you do that, let's talk about gratitude journals. All you have to do is take a random journal and write 3 things you are grateful for every day. They can be small, like I'm thankful for Netflix, which I know a lot of you are, of course. Or something big, like I'm thankful for getting all A's this morning period. You don't even have to write a paragraph about peace. Just make it a wish. Studies show by doing this, your happiness levels will boost up. So when you get home, try to start a gratitude journal, and you and other people will see the results.
Now, I know your arms are about to break off, but with the show of hands, how many people came to our first annual Trick or Treat event? Nice. For all of you who just raised your hands, you probably know that we organized an Alex's Lemonade stand for that night. Thanks to everyone who was thirsty and brought a cup of lemonade. We raised $176 for Alex's Lemonade stand fundraiser.
This leads us to our next amazing speaker who is happy to have with us today. He just spoke at the TEDx Westchester the other Friday night about an incredible way he brought attention to childhood cancer.
That's so awesome! Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Norman Horn!
And I've got a pretty interesting story for all of you. So, what I want to start with though, before I get into the details of what I was doing, I want to tell you about where I was and how I got involved with helping other people. Similar to what you're doing today and this year, and you're trying to come up with this concept of what can we do right now? Well, I had an idea, and that thought crossed my mind a couple of years ago. I was 30. I wasn't 11, 12, or 13, so I'm really excited to see you guys get a head start. So, I had a really good job once upon a time. I had a girlfriend, a house, a dog, nice car. It seemed like everything was perfect, right? This is what everybody wants. But I was still a little bit unhappy, and I was really missing something. There was something more I could do. I had this dream that I wanted to give back in a much bigger way than just working and being what I felt like was a regular person. So I wanted to take all the right steps, right? I wanted to change my life a little bit and give back to the community. So I came up with this brilliant idea to walk across the United States of America. Yep, you heard me right. I walked across the United States of America. In 2014, this is what I came up with, that I was going to walk across the country, FTK, for the kids, and that meant with kids with cancer. So I didn't know much about what I was going to do, because I just made this rash decision to quit my job, sell my car, rent my house, left girlfriend, all these things. Yeah, it was crazy. I'm crazy, I know. So I needed to educate myself, though, on what childhood cancer was. So I started to volunteer. I went to Hershey Children's Hospital. I went to the shop in Philly. I did all these things. I participated in the music therapy classes with these children so I could get a little taste of their lives in the hospitals. And all the nurses and doctors were there were teaching me about statistics and the need for money and research. And it was right then and there I knew that this is exactly what I wanted to do. For at least a short period of time, I was going to give back to the childhood cancer community. So then I had to get ready for all of this. I told you I got rid of everything that I had going on for me at the moment. I moved to California. I started a nonprofit. I started hiking. I had to get ready physically and mentally. I did TV shows and news interviews to get everything going. I had to train for 11 months. I had to find money to do this. I was asking big companies, and I was writing grants. All the things that you don't think about when you're trying to make a really big deal. And I didn't have any knowledge of any of this. This is just something I thought of, and I wanted to follow through on it, because I knew there was an opportunity to help people less fortunate than me. So for 11 months I prepared, and I went to San Francisco, where I had to shave, I did shave my head in honor of kids with cancer that lose their hair when they have treatment. I wanted there to be parallels to what I was doing so that everybody knew that I cared a lot more than just traveling and just doing this thing for myself. I didn't want to be selfish when I did this. I was going to do it for somebody else, and I was going to do it the right way. So in San Francisco, I'm on the beach with my friends, some family, some random strangers that just came to meet me because they saw me on TV 10 minutes before I wanted to start. And you know what I didn't think about? I prepared everything for this journey. I found that money I was talking about to help support me so I could find new opportunities to make more money for the kids in the hospitals. I had a backpack full of all my gear. I was getting ready to go camping. I'm going to walk across the country. I didn't think about where I was going on day one. I forgot that there was a destination and that I had to take care of myself. I was planning all these things. I had a website. I had everything that was great for this mission. And I didn't think about myself. So I found some friends and I connected with some people. I got lucky and I had a few places to stay. I walked through Oakland and Berkeley, Sacramento, Sierra Nevadas, through the mountains. Yes, there were bears. I got to Lake Tahoe. I walked around this big, beautiful lake. It snowed 2.5 feet while I was there, and I was sleeping in a tent. I walked up over the other side of the mountains, and I got to Carson City, Nevada. These are some of the conditions that I was hiking through. But now in Carson City, I'm staring at the desert. And until I get to Utah and Colorado, I knew it was nothing but desert conditions from then on out. But this is the type of stuff that got people's attention, and we started raising a lot of money, because people knew that I was putting myself in a situation where it was a little bit bizarre, but I could tell a really good story at the same time. And that's what I'm doing here today. I want to share this story with you about how dramatic this walk across the country was, but the impact was even greater. I set out to spread awareness about childhood cancer, and I was not going to let people down. I have a fear of disappointment. I have a fear of disappointing people. But I like to put myself in situations where I have to overcome something bigger than myself. After Sacramento and getting into Carson City, I was on the loneliest highway in America, Highway 50. Highway 50 runs from Sacramento all the way to Delaware. And I walked on this one single road almost that entire time. So while I'm in Nevada, another thing I didn't think about was weather. Weather was really bad. It was probably my worst enemy. I didn't think about it. There was a short 3-day period, and I say short relative because it was the longest 3 days of my life, where I was walking and a storm was rolling up over the mountains. And I'm setting up camp for the night. I have a little tiny one-person tent, and it starts to rain. And it starts to sleet, and the wind picks up, the hail sets in, it's snowing every night. And for 3 days, it wasn't warmer than 40, and it got as cold as 8 each night. I was hypothermic. I didn't have all the right gear. I'm shivering. I actually would strip down naked and put a trash bag on and do squats in the middle of the night because I didn't think I was going to make it. I literally didn't think I was going to make it through the night. I was scared. And during the day, I'd be afraid to stop walking, even during the sleet and the wind, because if I sat down, I was afraid I wouldn't want to start. I made it through those 3 days, and I get to this little town of Austin, Nevada, and I broke into a restroom at an RV park. I broke into the women's room because it was cleaner than the men's room. I slept there that night. I needed a roof over my head, 4 walls, and a place to collect my thoughts. And it helped. The next morning I woke up and I walked down the hill to the gas station. This is a town of like 60 people, by the way, so there's not a whole lot of support. And I go into the gas station to buy some food, and they had ramen noodles, expired Pop-Tarts, and expired candy bars. I bought them anyway because that was the best I could do. That's what I ate for the next couple weeks. I crossed the street to a little laundromat where I wanted to clean up a little bit. I didn't have any soap, so I just did laundry with the water that was in the machine. And while the spin cycle was going on, I got a phone call from a retired police officer in Reno, Nevada. I hadn't posted anything on Facebook in a few days, and I didn't think about that because I was concerned for myself. But people became concerned for me. So this gentleman calls me, this officer, and he says, "Hey, I noticed you haven't been as active as you normally are." And I told him about what happened. I was down and out. So he came and drove 3.5 hours, picked me up, gave me a warm bed, a couple dinners, some breakfast. Yeah, it was one night. I say a couple dinners because I eat a lot of food. But I needed that because I told you I only had Pop-Tarts. So he drives me back the next morning after helping me buy all new camping gear because it wasn't good enough what I had currently for the conditions I was walking through. He drops me off right where he picked me up. A few days later, I'm setting up camp again. I continued on. I wasn't ready to give up yet. And I get to my next camp. These are the items that I had. This is what I was sleeping in. This is what I was walking in. I had a stroller for kids so I could carry enough water because these towns were 100 and some miles apart. So I needed at least 2 gallons of water a day just to stay hydrated. I'm camping this night. It gets cold again, but it's not as bad as previous days. And it's in the middle of the night, and I start hearing this like snarl, this growling sound, heavy breathing. It was a coyote. It was 12 coyotes. So I'm in my tent in the middle of the night, holding my hunting knife and some bear spray, which is like pepper spray times 1,000. Scared again. This is just 3 days after the storm. They didn't bother me, but I wasn't sure what they were going to do. And they actually laid and slept right there with me. They didn't touch my cart, they didn't eat my food, and they laid right up against my body. And they were touching me. I was scared, thoroughly. So the next morning I wake up when the sun rose, and I get out of my tent, they're gone. Nowhere to be seen. And I'm a little bit frantic, but I'm moving slowly. I start to pack up my tent. And a truck pulls off the side of the road. So you see those bushes off to the side of my tent. There was a road on the other side of that, but these bushes went for 30 foot, this one giant sagebrush bush. They're 10 foot tall, 30 foot long. And a truck pulls off the side of the road on the other side. And the passenger gets out, and he starts to pee on the side of the road. All right, I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut, no one will know I'm here, and he'll continue on, it's kind of funny. Well, then the driver gets out of the car. He stands up on the back tire of his truck, leaning up against the bed, and he yells, "Norman!" It became funny. It wasn't funny quite yet, because that's my name, and I have no idea who this person is. So I'm scared again. This is like the third time in 6 days that I feel like I'm threatened. So I work my way down around the bushes, and I'm really, really quiet, and I'm contemplating whether I want to introduce myself or hide. Well, he would find me later on the road if it was something dangerous, and I figured I'm going to pop my head out and introduce myself. So I scared him, and he fell off the truck, and he stands up, and he's wondering why is this guy in the middle of the desert hiding behind a bush. So we slowly start to approach each other. I have my bear spray, my pepper spray in my back pocket, just in case. And we slowly approach each other. Well, it turns out that after a couple exchanges of words, he lives 20 miles down the road in a ranch, and he lost his sheepdog named Norman. It was adorable, but I was so scared. So now I have to continue. All these things keep happening. I have stories for days and days and days. This happened on a regular basis. So I worked my way through Utah, where I had problems with my legs. I had shin splints for over 260 miles. I get into Colorado and I have to walk up over the Rockies. I met a lady in a small town, Peggy. She saw me in the newspaper and wanted to help, so she found me, took me out to dinner. I horrified her with all these stories that I had, and she decided she was going to help me for the rest of the trip. So her and 2 other people that I know from around here, one lady from Phoenixville, one lady from Allentown, the 3 of them became my guardian angels for the rest of the trip. These 3 ladies stepped up and they helped me when times couldn't have seemed much worse for me. So they made arrangements for food and hotel rooms, and I didn't have to sleep in a tent the whole time anymore, and I continued. So I'm in Colorado, I get into Kansas. I walk for 12 days in over 110-degree heat. I get through 20 miles from a tornado outside of Hutchinson, Kansas, walking in the rain. I go through the humidity of Kansas and Missouri. I get to St. Louis, and I showed up at the same time as the Ferguson riots, where there was a bunch of people not doing very nice things. I continued on into Illinois and Indiana. Now I'm in Indianapolis, another big city. I just come from multiple small towns, multiple large cities, and I get to Indianapolis, where I was invited to stay with a partner family. Tatum, their daughter, was celebrating their 14th birthday. She invited all of her friends over, big pool party. I'm telling stories. The kids think I'm crazy. They're loving it. We're having a good time. At the end of the night, she hands me all the money that she got from her birthday and said, "This is for your cause. This is for your walk across the country." What I didn't know was that this young lady is a 2-time cancer survivor. And this made me rethink everything I had just gone through. She gave me $600 and some dollars. I wouldn't have given you $5 when I was 14. But she has a different perspective for life. She had an opportunity to do something for me, and she didn't have to. But she also is now an advocate for childhood cancer. She had some life experiences where she became a very successful public speaker. She's 17 right now, and is one of the best speakers I've ever heard. There was nothing during that trip across the country that I could subject myself, that I could put my situations I could put myself in that would ever be as hard as what it would be like to live with cancer, especially as a child. But I had to continue on. I'm only in Indianapolis. We shared some tears. We had a great story to tell after that weekend. This was my journey. That's every single night that I slept along the way, all the way until I got to Phoenixville. That's not where I finished, but I forgot to finish the map. I went all the way to Atlantic City. So I walked through the rest of Indiana, got to Cincinnati, up to Columbus, Ohio. I was at Ohio Ohio State University, where I spoke to a bunch of people, and we walked around campus holding gold balloons for childhood cancer. Then I got to Pittsburgh, where I got to throw the first pitch out of the Pirates game, and the Pirates and all the fans that were there that day raised $13,000 for me. I continued on up to State College, where I was a Penn State student once upon a time, and that's where I learned about childhood cancer, and that was the original idea, was based on the school. They threw a big tailgate for me and they raised a lot of money. Then I went down to Harrisburg and Hershey, the hospital where it all began, and we celebrated together. Then into Phoenixville, Philadelphia, and Atlantic City. I got to the end, and it was one of the best days of my entire life. I walked for 191 days, that's 6 months and a week. I went through 10 pairs of shoes, 3,307 miles, some 31 TV interviews, 168 different newspaper articles. It was a successful trip. I even had people from home that were walking with me virtually. They followed me on Facebook. They were wearing pedometers and gold shoelaces to represent so they could help me spread awareness. The effort was huge. The impact was even greater. That was the important part. I took a little idea once upon a time, and it took life of its own. I set out to raise $10,000, and I raised $56,000 for the Hershey Children's Hospital. How does this tie into what we're doing here today? I just told you that I had an idea of my own. I decided it then, and you can decide now. You don't have to wait till you're 30 years old. You don't have to do any of those things. I want you to remember 3 things. Keep this in mind. And this relates to everything everybody has said so far today. 1, I am not asking you to walk across the country. That is a ridiculous idea. I don't want anybody to do it. 2, everybody has an opportunity and a platform. And what do I mean by that? Everybody has interests and hobbies, the things they like to do. Your baseball team can raise money or food or whatever you decide to do for your organization. You can take this home and get your community involved. The opportunities are limitless. You have a platform. Mine was I'm a long-distance athlete. I like to hike, I like to camp, and I like to meet complete strangers. That's my 4 favorite things to do. And that's how I ended up walking across the country. I challenge you to think of something on your own that you can do right now.
Okay, one question that was sent to us through our Google form that we're going to ask Mr. Horn. And the question had to do, was there something that geared you towards pediatric cancer? And is there something that sort of geared you towards local hunger in your current job now with the food bank?
So it's a 2-part question. 1, childhood cancer. I went to Penn State University and I never participated in any of their fundraising efforts for children with cancer. And I regretted that to the fullest extent. So then after I graduated and a few years went by, that was the trigger that led me back to Hershey, the Children's Hospital, to figure out and educate myself a little bit more so that I could give back. Part 2, I worked for the Chester County Food Bank down the road. This walk across the country, that was my resume. That helped me get a job here locally. But this is where I live, and these are the people I want to help. And I don't have to go and do this giant national adventure to make a difference. You can do it right here in Chester County. There are over 500,000 people that live here. 77,000 of them don't have access to food every day. That's why I work there.
Let's give Mr. Horn a big round of applause.